Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. Sorry about that. That's for something else. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Or put in a fun background if you're so inclined. We are working on the Tempest and we are in Act 5, Scene 1, which is the only scene in Act 5. So we're just in Act 5. And Prospero is winding things up. He has married off his daughter. He has spooked Alonso and Gonzalo and Antonio and Sebastian by usage of Ariel in a couple different manners, first as a harpy and then as a pack of wild dogs. And now all of them, Alonso and Gonzalo and Antonio and Sebastian and that whole crew, are sort of frozen outside of Prospero's cell. And Prospero has decided that they have been sufficiently frightened because Ariel has told him that they're sufficiently frightened, and that Gonzalo, standing there frozen, is crying and the tears are falling down his beard. So Prospero is like, you know what? Go get them and bring them here. And Ariel leaves, and Prospero has a moment on stage by himself, and he says, "Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the ewe not bites. And you, whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak ministers though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let 'em forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure. And when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. And then Ariel comes in with Alonso and Sebastian and Antonio and Francisco and all of these people and stands them around kind of in a circle around Prospero, who gets to keep talking, so I'm going to keep going. And he says, "A solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for you are spell stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver, and a loyal sir to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertain ambition, expelled remorse and nature, whom, with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king, I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now leave foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me and myself present as I was sometime Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free. So, the first half of this is sort of his pledge to give up magic. He talks to the sprites that surround him. That's who he's talking about with the mushrooms and the things that feed on the grasses that the lambs will not eat, and the ones that are afraid of the tides and stuff like that. He's calling them out and recognizing them and sort of honoring them in what they are. And he's like, it's because of you that I've been able to do these amazing things like black out the sun and call up really strong winds and, manipulate the elements and use thunder to crack open oaks, and I've made the ground shake and I've risen people from the dead. But it's time to let all of that go. And as soon as I'm done with this cute little spell that I have on these people, and as soon as all of this is settled, I'm breaking my magic staff and I am burying my books so that I can't practice magic anymore. So it's a very impassioned retirement speech, and I always felt like he loved what he did when he had this magic, so this was a big thing for him to give up, but it's probably also a release of some sort for him to give all of this up and to give up the anger and the resentment that goes along with feeling wronged for 12 years and now being able to confront those who wronged him and try to set things right. So then Ariel brings all of them in, and they're standing around him in a circle, all still sort of foggy, but they're like half frozen but slowly becoming aware. And as they become aware, he's like, oh, I got to say something. So first he thanks Gonzalo for helping him, because Gonzalo is the one that put his books and some food and some clothes on the boat when he and Miranda were set out to sea. And then he turns to Alonso and he was like, you were mean to me and my daughter, and your brother Sebastian helped you. But then he turns to his brother Antonio and is like, you are such an unnatural creature, and you and Sebastian like 10 minutes ago were going to kill Alonso, your king. But then he forgives him. Prospero forgives Antonio because he's ready to move on and let it go, like confront them with their stuff and then let it go. But then he looks around and realizes that like they're all waking up, but none of them are going to recognize Prospero as he is currently dressed, because they didn't know him as this kind of magician. So he asks Ariel to go get some of the clothing that he had when he landed on this island, a hat and a whatever, so that he can shed his magical robes and dress himself the way that he used to look when he was the Duke of Milan. So Ariel goes to do that and helps him change, singing a cute little song, and then Prospero has a little bit more to say, which is tomorrow's monologue. But yeah, I love that piece. I always loved performing that piece. Anyway, good fun stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow for more. I mean, we're getting dangerously close to the end of this play, so not a ton left, but we do get to hear from Prospero a bit more before all is said and done. So I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.